Hello and welcome to On the Agenda, a semi-monthly podcast by the City of Reno that quickly updates you on the actions taken at the most recent council meeting and checks in with various departments to keep you up to date with happenings at City Hall. I'm AJ from the City of Reno's communications team, and with me, as always, Reno City Manager Jackie Bryant. Hello, Reno City Manager Jackie Bryant.
Hello, AJ.
It's funny, when I see you out in, just City Hall, I never say Reno City Manager Jackie Bryant, but I feel like it's perfect. It's your whole name.
It's the whole name now, but I'm just Jackie.
Just Jackie. Oh,
just
I love
Jackie.
that. Oh, that's a new thing. Just Jackie. So today we're going to discuss another important topic related to the city's finances. But before we get into our main topic, let's review a couple of actions that were taken at the last council meeting on September 10th. Here with those is Reno City Manager Jackie Bryant.
Alrighty, so council accepted some critical public safety grants, including a grant from the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services to support the Reno Police Department Victim Services Unit, and 3 grants from the Nevada Department of Public Safety, Office of Traffic Safety for enforcement of pedestrian safety, impaired driving, and multi-jurisdictional traffic enforcement. Many, many thanks to our state of Nevada partners. Council also heard some updates, including an update from the Reno Police Department's Mobile Outreach Safety Team. We call that MOST, and a presentation on the annual economic update by the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada. Council also had 2 public hearings. The first, they approved an ADU ordinance with a few recommendations from council, and in the second, council directed staff to not file an objection to the Regional Planning Governing Board's decision related to the Stonegate Development. Lots happened.
There was a lot. If you want to read the highlights, you can always check them out on our website at reno.gov/news. During the meeting, council also heard a presentation on property tax. Property tax is the second largest revenue source in our general fund, and the largest revenue source in our street fund. Jackie, why did council hear this presentation? There was a reason, right? It wasn't just like, hey, come on over, Jason.
No, we worked a lot on this for several months, and I was the most excited about this particular presentation yesterday because it's really important that we ensure that council and the community understand how the revenues are allocated so that they can understand exactly how much money the city of Reno receives from the various revenue sources. So a lot of people don't realize how unique Nevada's property tax structure is. And in fact, there are some components of our property tax structure that you won't find in any other state. And since it's the second largest revenue source for the city of Reno, it really is critical that we know how much we anticipate to receive on a yearly basis so that we can provide the public safety services, street maintenance, and other things that cities are obligated to provide.
It was very interesting, not just because the presenter was so animated.
He is very animated.
It was great. He did the C-Tax presentation. You should definitely watch it. Check out reno.gov.
Yeah, when I give the presentation, I'm a lot more boring.
No, you're great. You're good at this. I didn't realize, though, how our property tax is just so different. And I pretend to be an adult most days. So hearing all this, I was like, wow. I was telling my partner about it, and they're like, yeah, that's what the property tax is. I was like, oh, no, I should know this. So really excited to get into this.
It is exciting, particularly for us in government. You know, this is a thing that
we're excited about it. So to help us better understand this, we are again joined by Vicki Van Buren, Director of Finance, and urban economist Jason Gortari, who last time I could not say economist. It was like an economist. It was just a whole thing. So thank you both for joining us again on the agenda.
Thanks for having us on the show.
Thanks, AJ.
Is this a real show now?
I think it is.
Yeah, we've had Vicki on it so many times. Jason, too. You guys are going to get credits. You're going to get IMDb. It's going to be perfect. So before we jump in, Vicki, could you give us a quick overview of how much property tax impacts the city's budgets?
Of course. For the city of Reno, property tax is the second largest source of revenue in the general fund, and it provides just over 26% of our revenue in the general fund. Just as a reminder, the general fund covers the critical services that the community really thinks of when they think of the government services that we provide: police, fire, dispatch, parks, and so much more. And then the other piece of this is for the street fund. Property tax makes up almost 70% of the revenue source of that fund and provides the construction and maintenance of streets citywide. So in addition to providing critical public safety resources, property tax is our primary way to pay for street maintenance for almost 800 miles of streets, alleys, and access to roads.
That's a lot of miles we gotta work on. So, Jason, we heard that Nevada's property tax system is unique. So could you start by explaining how the property tax structure works and what makes that difference from other states?
One unique feature of Nevada's property tax system is that it applies a depreciation model not only to commercial property, but also to residential property, the only state in the nation to do so. Under this system, the taxable value of property improvements, such as buildings or home, decreases by 1.5% each year for up to 50 years. So if you had a 50-year-old home, 75% is not taxable. Another unique feature is that when a home or business is sold, the taxable value does not reset to the new market price. New owners benefit by inheriting the previous owner's lower depreciated taxable value. Also, annual increases in taxable value are capped at 3% for owner-occupied homes and 8% for businesses and all other types. Regardless of inflation, rising cost, or an increase in the actual value that would exceed those caps.
So I'm gonna be real with you. When we started, I said I didn't understand property tax at all. So help me understand how the unique property tax system in Nevada, how they affect the average homeowner or renter in Reno.
One of the reasons our tax caps were adopted in Nevada in 2005 was to protect property owners from sudden tax hikes, essentially a safeguard for those on fixed incomes. In practice, if your home value jumps sharply in 1 year, or say over a period of 5 years, your property tax bill can only be 3% more than last year's bill. This model has created challenges for revenue and equity, though, as older homes often pay significantly lower taxes than new homes of the same value. And because the taxable value doesn't reset at sale, people who purchase newer properties worth the same value as older properties pay higher property taxes. Let me give you a hypothetical example to illustrate this. Imagine two nearly identical houses in Reno, each worth $600,000. The only difference is their age. Home A is brand new, while Home B is 30 years old. The buyer of Home A would pay about $6,200 a year in property taxes, while the buyer of Home B would pay only about $3,900, close to twice as much for that newer home. But just think, if Home B were fully depreciated at 50 years old, the tax gap would be even larger, and it would be more than twice as large as the older home.
That's fascinating. So it's older homes often pay significantly lower taxes than a newer home.
That's correct, even if they're worth exactly the same value.
Wow.
As determined by the assessors.
Oh, wow. So, Vicki, from a city's operation standpoint, how do these property tax rules impact our ability to provide essential services like police, fire, and those 800 miles of roads that we have to attend to?
Unfortunately, with Nevada's property tax system, tax revenues grow slower than real market values and the rising cost of services like police, fire, and the cost of roads. Also, since building values depreciate and taxable values don't reset when a property is sold, most property tax revenue growth comes from new construction. This means that older neighborhoods, which often rely on a lot of city services to repair streets and other things, contribute less to property taxes.
That's super fascinating to actually hear about these older homes. So, Jackie, looking ahead, what does this mean for just the city of Reno in general?
Well, it means we're going to have some honest and difficult conversations about how the community wants to prioritize services. Mm-hmm. In Reno, 24% of all property is already at least 50 years old and has reached the maximum depreciation factor of 75%. What that means for Reno is that revenue has declined significantly from that property tax. That's an excellent thing for the homeowner or the business owner because their taxes are capped at the 3 or 8%. But that means that there is a significant amount of money that is abated that is otherwise not flowing into the governments, whether it's Reno, Sparks, Washoe County, the school district, and the other entities that are supported by property tax. So the challenge becomes, how do we reconcile the tension between the individual residents who might not want to pay more in taxes, and yet the declining revenue sources that are coming into the city of Reno and other governments with the increasing cost of services? Mm-hmm. If we look at the revenue from 2011 to 2025 and we adjust it for inflation and growth in population, the city of Reno is receiving 8% less today in property tax revenue than it was in 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that again because that's hard to get your head around. But when you take into account inflation and growth in population on a per capita basis, the city of Reno is receiving 8% less revenue from property tax today than it was in 2011. Yet our costs for services have gone up in that same time. The cost for materials to build things, the cost for labor continues to increase while our revenue has declined, and we have more people to serve, which means we need more police and we need more firefighters. So those are the challenges that we're going to have an honest conversation with the community. We can't continue to provide the same level of service with increasing population and declining revenues when you take into account the increased population and inflation.
And it's not just a simple, like, let's just flip a switch and do this. Like, it's,
No.
like you said, we have to be honest with ourselves, have to have honest conversations and go forth. This is very fascinating. This has been a very eye-opening podcast. I would like to think all of them are very eye-opening, but this one in particular, we appreciate everyone taking time to discuss this today. If you would like to learn more about our property tax, you can visit reno.gov/property tax. Nevada's property tax system is unique, and understanding how it works helps listeners see both benefits and the challenges we face as a community. A big thank you, Vicki and Jason, for helping us break down another complicated topic into something we can all understand on a quick little drive to work. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you, AJ.
Thanks, AJ.
Before we sign off, Jackie, tell us a little bit about the next agenda for the council meeting on September 24th.
Well, Vicki will be back. She'll be giving us a financial update on where we are with our budget. As you know, we've been monitoring closely C-tax revenues, which have also been flattening. So she's going to tell everybody where we are on that. Council will consider the approval of a permit fee reduction for the Arrowleaf on Harvard affordable housing project. We tend to ask council to reduce certain fees to encourage the growth of affordable housing projects. We also have 3 hearings, one to approve the submission of what we call the CAPER for HUD grant programs. That's the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. No one cares but us. Consideration of a master plan and zoning amendment request for a site at Plumas and Mount Rose Streets, and a request for rezoning of a 2.36 acre site on Orcrest Drive from large lot residential to mixed employment.
Thank you for the updates. As always, you can check out the highlights at reno.gov/news. And don't forget to sign up for our brand new newsletter. The reviews are in. People love it.
They
the Reno Report.
do love the Reno Report. And I'm going to make a plug. If you are fascinated with property tax like we are, go to reno.gov/property tax.